Welcome to A Shot of Ag. My name is Rob Sharkey. I'm your host. Do you know about agriculture education? I do. I grew up in the system. I grew up with ag classes. I grew up with an FFA jacket. But today's guest is an ag educator from Kewaunee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, you teach in Kewaunee. Yeah. Kendra Callahan.
That's me.
Do your students call you Mrs. Callahan?
They only call me Mrs. Callahan.
Because nowadays, like some of the teachers, they do the whole first name thing because they're hip.
No, I'm not hip.
Yeah.
So it is only Mrs. Callahan, and I tell them that that's for respect for Mr. Callahan to call me Mrs. Callahan.
Okay.
Now, behind my back for a long time, they called me only Callahan, or they called me boss. Now, occasionally on trips, I will let a Callahan slip, like, hey, Callahan.
Oh,
but,
you're
my
serious.
preference is only Mrs. Callahan. Oh yeah, I'm very serious.
What happens when you get a smart mouth one that says, "Oh, hey, Callahan"? What do you do?
And I say, good morning, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
I'm Mrs. Callahan, and you will call me Mrs. Callahan.
I mean, can you hit them?
I cannot hit them. They
Yeah.
don't let us hit the children, but I do remind them that I think about it.
Yeah. Do you have detentions, demerits?
So we have detentions. I'm anti-detention.
Because you'd have to stay.
Well, not only do you have to stay, but it's a piece of paper, and I want you to remember when you were 16 years old. And somebody handed you a piece of paper that said you have to spend 30 minutes with the person that just made you angry.
Yeah.
How much did that improve your mindset or behavior?
Well, I didn't think that was a point.
No.
I thought it was a punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more, I'm going to have a conversation with you. So I typically pull the student aside and I say, hey, and I do call my students Mr. or Miss. So I say Mr. Smith.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of Jimmy and Tom?
Right. But it's all about a culture. So I grew up in a yes, sir household.
Yeah.
And so I'm a yes, sir, yes, ma'am person. I don't care if you're 12 or 47.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
49.
49.
Yeah.
I don't give 49 either. So I'm going to pull them aside. I'm going to look at them and I say, this is a bad choice. What are our other options?
Yeah.
And that tends to get me further than the piece of paper. And I don't like doing paperwork. So I often say, if you're going to punch somebody, go to the hallway, because then a camera catches it and someone else has to deal with it, not me.
I'm learning so much.
Yes. No detentions.
You teach in Kewaunee.
Yes.
You live in Bishop Hill.
Yes.
Which is 20 minutes away.
That's fair.
Okay. But you grew up in Cambridge,
I did, on a small family farm.
which is just north of Kewaunee.
Yeah, northwest of Kewaunee.
Well, I didn't know we were getting official, but yeah, you're
We have
close.
to.
Yeah. Kewaunee. I'm going to say Kewaunee has been made fun of on this show in the past. I mean, obviously not by me, but hog capital of the world. It's not true.
It is not true, but it was at one point.
I'm not sure if it was ever true.
You don't think so, per capita?
You even call yourself hog capital of the world? How can you say that?
Well, I don't think that they still believe they're the hog capital of the world.
Okay.
But I think at one point, per capita, there were more pigs produced, yes, than anywhere else in the world.
Well, I mean, we'll let that go, because I'm sure.
I'm going to fact check it. There's going to need to be lots of fact checking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you in Kewaunee High School or Wethersfield? Because there's
Kewaunee.
two.
There are two.
Okay. Do you guys not like each other?
I love all of them. Now,
Yeah.
as an outsider, not growing up in Kewaunee, I do think that it's impressive, is the word I'll use, that of a community of that size, that there's two high schools.
I don't think the Wethersfield kids like the Kewaunee kids.
You don't think so?
No, because Kewaunee's a big school.
You think it's a big school. I also thought it was a big school
Yeah.
because I graduated with 42 students. But then
In Cambridge.
Correct.
Okay.
But then when I went to Kewaunee, I know all of those kids. It's not a big school. It's a very diverse population, but I'm incredibly envious of all of those students because they have way more experiences than I did in high school. We have a bowling team.
Kewaunee has a bowling team?
Yes, yes.
The Boilermaker bowling team. That's fantastic.
Isn't it?
I will say that Kewaunee Walmart's a special place.
It is a special place.
Moving on. Did you always know you were going to be an ag teacher?
I did not.
What did you want to be?
A lot of different things. So I grew up in a farm family, right? And typical farmer's daughter, family of entrepreneurs. And then my dad worked for CD Ford & Sons in Geneseo. And he also was a snowbird, so he pushed snow in the winter. And so my idea of agriculture was very production based. I was a good student, so I loved animals. So what do you think in a small school, farm girl who loved animals, what do you think I was told I was going to be someday?
Podiatrist.
Correct.
Yeah.
But for paws, yeah, no. So veterinarian is all anyone ever said. And
Yeah.
I didn't know any different until I went to college, went to Blackhawk on a horse judging scholarship, and then on to K-State.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you really?
Yes.
I,
And I thought that I wanted to be like a dean of students someday. Like that was actually motivational speaker was my dream job. But
Yeah.
like a work in college
It's overrated.
life, it is,
Yeah.
right? And work with students, like that young 20-something female was what I was really enjoyed. But then I fell in love with a college professor and moved back to Northwest Illinois. And so that was not the plan. So I got hooked up with some people from Purina.
whoa.
Yeah.
Kansas. Why'd you go to Kansas?
Why'd I go to K-State?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I go to K-State?
There's, I mean, a litany of reasons. I mean, it is like a well-known ag school, right? I mean, that's Kansas. That's all they talk about. That's the purple
It is
college,
the purple.
right? Yeah, the
Yes, good
wild.
job. Every man a wildcat.
Cougars.
Ema. No, Wildcats. So I had an opportunity to consider several different options to go
Yeah.
on to judge. Yes, John Wolf was a mentor, is still a mentor of mine, but had been since I was 14 years old. And his daughter was the judging coach at K-State. And I visited several different schools and considered several different programs. When my dad and I went out to K-State, I was the student trustee at Blackhawk at the time. So we get to K-State and we park, and we had recently visited another institution. I won't name them. And they were calving on slats, and I was struggling to see the production ag piece. So we pull in behind Weber Hall, we step out, and in the middle of campus, here comes a manure spreader. And
Yeah.
my dad and I start laughing, and he says, well, it feels like home. And so from that moment, I very much appreciated the passion of tradition at K-State, and then was able to meet several people because of my connection as the student trustee.
Yeah.
And
Was it
just felt
Aggieville
good.
or whatever?
Yeah.
The place where they all
Aggieville.
drank?
I never
Okay.
drank there, but yeah, Aggieville.
Okay. It was at Manhattan, right?
Yeah, Manhattan can.
It's an incredibly fun town.
Man happiness.
When you're there,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody there tells you how great their college is.
Lots of purple.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're proud. I think we were talking about Purina,
Yeah.
right? That's where so you came back to Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what were you doing there?
So I came back, I was substitute teaching while I interviewed, and then took the job with Purina in the lifestyle division.
Teaching what?
Substitute teaching.
Like what? Just
Like-
math and kindergarten and stuff?
Whoever would call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it could be anything. I avoided junior high, but everything outside
Why?
of junior high.
So brats?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
The hormones are a lot.
Yeah, they're really ramped up at that.
They are.
Age.
It's awkward. Yes.
So obviously you grew up on a farm, so you probably knew the basics about feed and all that.
I love watching animals eat, and I do.
Okay.
You got to just sit and watch them sometime. It's fascinating. And what they do, think about like a sustainability model, like cows.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
They got a whole bunch of tummies.
It's a whole, they only have one tummy.
I thought they had 4.
They have 4 compartments in one stomach.
I didn't know we were splitting hairs here, but okay. Anyway.
Yes. So I worked for Purina, and I had about 40 dealers in the upper Midwest. Loved the team that I worked with, loved the people that I worked with and what I did. Sales, like we're all in sales roles, right? Like you're trying to sell something every day. As an educator, I'm trying to sell something every day.
Okay.
Working with Purina, I was literally selling, but you educate on the way to a sale. And so I spent my days with people and their animals and helping solve issues with products that I had available, right?
Just like cows, pigs, horses, that type of thing?
Yeah. So not on the commercial side. So lifestyle, they consider that like if the animal is going to have a name. So think like show animals, horses, zoos, and then smaller production. So guys that maybe have 100 or less cows. So cow-calf pairs,
Okay.
but not feedlots or confinement buildings. All lifestyle.
Did you like it?
Loved it. Loved it. I am a extrovert, and I'm a green
What?
personality. It's so surprising.
A what personality?
And green, like the true color matrix.
Oh,
Green, gold, blue, orange.
I don't know that.
Okay, so green is like analytical thinkers. Gold is like everything has a place, organized
Yeah.
leaders. Blue would be very maternal, empathy, and then orange would be like life of the party.
I think I'm plaid.
I think you're orange, but plaid, yeah, probably plaid.
Okay.
Probably plaid.
But you're green.
I am green. I'm green gold. I have blue doesn't usually exist.
Yeah.
And people mistake me for orange because of the extrovert part, but I'm not very orange.
Well, you have to be extrovert to be a teacher, right?
I have a lot of introverted friends that are teachers.
Really?
Yes.
You just get over the whole speaking?
I think that they just relate to students in a different way.
Okay. I forgot where we were talking
We were talking about
zoos.
Purina. We were talking about Purina. So I loved my job at Purina.
Yeah.
I did. I very much did. But I was spending like 3 nights a week on the road, 5,200 miles a month. I happened to be at a horse judging contest. And a dear friend of mine, Lisa Miller, she was a PE teacher and coach, now a counselor at Cambridge High School.
Okay.
And I was
Whoa.
close with her
Cambridge
family.
still has a high school?
Yes, they still have a high school.
It's
They have
got
a
to
good
be
high
small,
school.
doesn't it?
It's very tiny.
Okay.
I don't know how many they graduate, but
All right.
if they wanted to come to Kiwani, we would take all of them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, geez, you're recruiting now.
Why not?
All right. I interrupted you.
I like it though.
You had a friend.
So she says they were in between ag teachers at the time. They were kind of like,
Cambridge was.
they were.
Okay.
And she says, you should consider being an ag teacher. And I quite literally laughed at her. I don't know if you know what teachers make in the state of Illinois, but
Honestly, I don't.
well,
but-
it's less than what you make at Purina.
Okay. All right. So
I laughed at her and just kept walking, like didn't even entertain the idea.
yeah, but it sounds like you were getting burnt out at Purina.
But I didn't know I was getting burnt out.
Yeah, this thing fell down.
I honestly didn't.
Oh, really? So I don't understand. So why did you?
I was on my way to a rodeo with a girlfriend and her 8-week-old baby to see our husband's rope. And about 2 miles from my house, we were in a traumatic car accident.
Oh, no.
And she woke up the next day saying, and we both walked away. Baby, is it 5-point or 8-point harness? Mm-hmm. Big, do that. And he slept through the whole thing.
Oh, you're
And-
kidding me. Really?
Yeah, when the paramedics got there, they were like pinching him to try and get him to cry, like to make some sort of sound for them.
Ooh.
So she says to me the next day, we're on the phone, and she like felt this huge sense. It's her first child. Like I walked out of this accident because I'm supposed to be his mom, and I had this like overwhelming feeling that I wasn't using my 24 hours to the best of my ability, and like wasn't making an impact in our home. And I called Lisa Miller, and this is like 5 years after she makes the comment to me, "You should be an ag teacher." And I said,
okay.
I said, what do I need to do to become an ag teacher?
Okay. First of all, I'm glad you're
Me too.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That obviously had to be pretty traumatic.
It was wild timing.
Now, were you married at the time? Where'd you meet him?
So I have known him since I was in high school. He was the judging coach at Blackhawk, so I judged under him for 2 years while at Blackhawk. And then when I was at K-State, I coached the horse judging team, and so we coached alongside each other. And that's when we
Gotcha.
started dating.
So love at first sight?
No,
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I didn't see him without a hat on for a few years, so it would I can't.
The hat did it.
The hat didn't do it. The dimples are what did it. He's got great dimples. I have a thing for dimples.
He does have great dimples.
He does have great dimples.
Okay. Well, that's not. How long you been married?
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not quite 20 some, but we're getting there.
Oh, it's all math.
It is
You
math.
should know that as
He's
a
a
teacher.
numbers guy. I'm not a numbers person.
Okay, so 5 years. You probably called about Cambridge.
Well-
that had probably passed.
Well, it had, and
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing things as a supportive community member with Mr. Tabor, who was the ag teacher there at that time. And actually, we dreamed up this whole scheme of that, like him and I were going to teach together because they co-op with Alwood, and they were looking for an ag teacher. And so we had this whole idea of how we were going to, but that did not come to fruition, and it wasn't supposed to because I was definitely supposed to end up at Kiwani.
And is that where you went right into?
I did, yes.
But you were teaching before. Did you have like, I don't know what you need, like a teaching
No,
certificate?
I was not a
anything?
traditionally trained teacher. So to be a substitute in the state of Illinois, you have to have a bachelor's degree or 60 hours. 60, so it's associates technically, right? So you can substitute teach.
I could
in the
be a
state of-
substitute.
You could be a substitute teacher probably, yes.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, so I wasn't a traditionally trained teacher. So I technically have what they refer to as a provisional educator's license. So
Okay.
I have a few more hoops that I have to jump through in terms of like continuing my education and professional development. But I didn't like student teach. My degree is not in education.
So, okay, you get the job, obviously. I mean, did you do like the whole interview process and everything?
Yeah, I did.
Or did they just like, oh, she's got a heartbeat?
So well, I think that's what they were looking for was the heartbeat. That's not what they got. My phone rang and it was a Kiwani phone number. And at the time, Family Video used to call you and you hadn't like checked out a video in a while. And so I ignored the call because I thought it was Family Video. I'm not joking. I was sitting with a girlfriend having coffee and the phone number called right back. And so then because it's a Kiwani number, I was like, oh gosh, I hope something's not wrong with Aaron. And so I answer it thinking it was Blackhawk or something.
Yeah.
And the phone, I answer it and the dude says, this is Jamie Bryan, principal at Kiwani High School. I heard that you're looking for ag jobs.
Sounds like a principal.
That's what he
Yeah.
sounded like, just like that. I hadn't even applied there. And I was like, I think that I am looking. And this was a Thursday. And he says, well, can we look at our calendars and pick out a time? Sure. I'm thinking like a month or something,
Yeah.
right? He says, how's Monday morning at 8? So
To start or
yes.
to interview?
To interview,
Okay.
yes. So I met with him and the assistant principal that following Monday, and this was in November. And then the school board officially hired me in March, and then I started that summer.
Were you scared?
I was terrified because the assistant principal made the children sound like there was monsters in the classroom that were going to eat you, but that's not what I was greeted with.
So going in, you were going to be teaching freshmen through seniors?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ag classes
Yep.
and anything else?
No, just ag classes and FFA advisor.
That's a full-time role?
That is a full-time role.
I would think so because, I mean, even though it's one subject, you've got...
So agriculture is an
Yeah.
umbrella. I teach multiple areas of agriculture within that. So I have introduction to agriculture, which
Yeah.
would be your freshman.
Okay.
Then biological science applications in agriculture, a semester of plant, so soil, plant, and then a semester of animal. That's all under that like sophomore umbrella. And as of 2021 in the state of Illinois, that now counts as science credit and can be
should.
applied. It should.
Yeah.
Then I teach a veterinary technology, dual credit through Blackhawk College. At the time, I was teaching horticulture, so like greenhouse crops and landscape design, dual credit through Blackhawk College. Agriculture business management, dual credit. Agriculture power and technology is like a senior ag mech capstone course. I'm forgetting something.
I'm sure you are.
And a semester-long animal science class.
All right, you seem like a very confident person. Like you
I
said,
am
you're an
confident.
extrovert, but tell me about that. Tell me you, for the first day, you stand in front of that classroom and you got all these little punks looking at you. Tell me about that feeling.
Punks is a great way to describe them. Can I tell you my favorite story from my first day of school?
Do I have a choice?
No. So I spent like 300 hours in that shop the summer before I started because the classroom, everything like culture-wise needed cleaned house.
Yeah.
That needed just a whole revamp.
What do you mean by that, culture-wise?
I mean that there was no leadership ownership in that program. So
Okay.
you walk the hallway, I couldn't pay a student to put on an FFA t-shirt.
Gotcha. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Continue.
Yes.
Yep.
So I spent all summer cleaning house, like getting it ready. And I think it was Bobby Knight. I don't know. Anyway, there's a basketball
the guy that threw
coach.
chairs. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So he has this whole thing with teams
Coached
about
at Kansas, I believe. Indiana,
so
whatever.
draw a line in the sand, and we're gonna have a funeral for the previous coach, program, et cetera, whatever it is. So
Okay.
I love that you had an experience before I got here. I want you to own that experience, but this is what we're doing now, okay?
Yeah.
So that was the motto that I was going in with, that like, I appreciate that you had a prior experience, but this is where we start today.
My world now.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I have this like, we're gonna, punks, the term you used, love that. So the punks and I are all gonna get in a circle and we're gonna do a really cheesy, like get to know you type things on the first day of school. And then we're gonna do like some STEM leadership stuff. So this kid without
She's one of those teachers.
yes.
Okay.
This kid without missing a beat, he spits on my floor.
Oh, with the chew or just
No.
random spittle?
I think that it was just random spittle.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
It's clean spit.
But I don't even make eye contact with him, and I keep doing what I'm doing, and I say, Mr. Smith, you have two options. And I tell him where the paper towels are right behind him, or that there's another cleanup. And he doesn't move. And so I believe I mentioned both options, and then I keep going, and he says, you're serious. And that's when I turn my head to him and I say, I am very serious.
Were you smiling?
Oh, yes, I was fine. Just
Really?
like this. It was just that I look just like this, yes.
It's scarier
It
like
is
that.
scary. That is what I am told. I'm told it is very. See, that's why I don't write detentions.
Okay.
Because it's way scarier.
Did he do it?
Oh, he definitely did. And then I later learned that he's like a legacy troublemaker. That there's like 3 big brothers before him, and
Oh.
like they do whatever they want. And I was like, not in my house. And so within a week, kids figured out pretty quick, like whether they were going to drop the class or keep the class. Yes. So at that point, you couldn't buy a T-shirt, and I couldn't pay them to wear T-shirts.
An FFA T-shirt.
Yes. But now, like, their families get them for them for Christmas.
You're like a 1980s movie.
I love the 1980s.
Where the
Which
new,
one?
I
Which
don't know.
movie?
But the new teacher with the heart of gold
Yeah,
came in
yes.
against the jagged teenagers and won them over
That is what I did.
because he
Yes.
spit.
Because he spit. Yeah.
How long did it take?
From him spitting to him cleaning up the
No,
floor?
like if you look back and you said, well, like in the first 9 months, I think I broke their spirit.
Oh. I didn't break any spirits. What I did was I was obnoxiously contagious and influenced the ones that I could, and
Yeah.
the ones that I couldn't, they found somewhere else to go.
Really? You didn't kick them out, but they.
I certainly didn't. I would catch them before they left the room, and I would say, it's 24 hours before we see each other again.
Yeah.
I want you to decide if this is where you want to be. If
Yeah.
you don't, we'll have a gentleman's handshake, and I'll still say hi to you in the hallway.
Okay.
And my classroom was right next to the cafeteria, so I was always going to be polite to those kids,
Yeah.
right? But we weren't going to jive.
You saw the movie Lean on Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a Sam? Remember the one, Sam's? Sam's! You'd always yell at that kid.
Yeah, that's a lesson I learned from my husband. You always have one that you can like target that can
Yeah.
handle it, and then the others will fall in line.
You're thinking of somebody, aren't you?
Oh, I definitely.
Yeah. Out of all the students you have right now, which one do you like the least?
There are some that I like the least, but I have like a top 147.
147. You like 147 kids?
I love 147.
How many kids do you have?
147.
Kendra, you have done a horrible job at time management with this interview.
I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah. Look, I'm supposed to get all through this, and I've got through 3.
Who's in charge, Kayla or Emily?
It's always, nothing against Kayla, but it's always Emily. Can you stay for another interview? Mm-hmm. Okay. But if someone is watching this one and they can't wait to find out more about you, is there a place that they can find out about you or the school or the FFA online or the old internet?
Yeah, they can invite me to coffee. That's the best way to learn about me. But otherwise, I would tell them to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, the Kewanee FFA chapter,
And that's all they have to do is Hog Capital of the World FFA chapter.
and we'll pop right up.
You guys don't have like the TikToks and all that?
We do,
Yeah.
but your best bet is Instagram or Facebook.
Or to invite you for coffee.
Correct.
Now, if someone was to invite you for coffee, is that assuming that they're going to pay?
Nope. It's actually more likely that they invite me and then I end up paying because I like to be sneaky like that.
Okay. I would get the free cup of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, if anybody wants to invite me for coffee, you can. I'm not bringing my wallet,
Then they know.
but I'm not a teacher either. Okay, I'm glad you're sticking around because what you're doing at that high school needs to be talked about, and I have failed to get to it. So thank you for sticking around. That means next week everybody has to come back. Or if they're watching it like on the streaming service, they
Right,
just click ahead.
They just fast forward.
How cool would that be? Maybe
30
we should
seconds,
warn
30
people
seconds.
that they should not watch the first one, and that way they could watch the whole
Gets what
thing.
they want,
I don't think PBS would like
We won't
us
tell them.
saying that.
Don't tell
Okay. All right, Kendra Callahan from Bishop Hill, working in Kewanee from Cambridge. Thank you, and I cannot wait to hear the rest of the story. Kendra, thank you. Everybody else, we'll catch you next time.